Hello TikTok, I've got something I'd like to share and sort of panicked. It's like I need to share this now. So I saw my kids on Friday for the first time in 4.5 months. And uh, you know, I enjoyed my time with my kids very much, but I broke down and cried. I mean, on my way on the bus all the way, I was listening to beats, I was rocking away in the bus, I was zoning in and ready to see my kids. But on my way out, I broke down. But what I'd like to share is when I saw my kids, I immediately got into prayer with them. I told them, Mummy, going to pray now. Pray for all of us. And I prayed for us. I looked at the woman caseworker. She looked displeased. So that goes to show a lot about what they're trying to break, although that they're there for a different reason. And for the things that went down in my marriage breakdown in the home. And so, let me slow down. I said to my children, Mummy dreamt about yous last week. See, my son's birthday passed on the Sunday before the Sunday, and I dreamt that week before his birthday. And so I shared with my children, Mum dreamt about yous. And my son and my son who just turned 6 and my oldest daughter is still 9.5, they both stopped and looked at me while I was sitting on a couch, and they said, they looked curious, so I went into explaining the dreams. I said, have yous, and I'm watching a caseworker while this is going down. I said, have yous dreamt of the old house that week before your birthday, son? And he looked at me and he's looking shocked. And I looked at my daughter and she's looking real intent, like. And I said, yeah. They're nodding, yeah. And I said, news dreamt Mum and Dad drinking alcohol and arguing. And they're like, yes. And then I asked them, I left it alone for a few seconds. Then it hit me to ask them in my spirit woman. I said, "Yous had dreamt about the property we was on, with that where we was camping." And they looked and said, "Yeah." And that was it. But my oldest one went into detail about the dream, and she said, "Mum, when we was on that property, you know how we saw that Bigfoot?" And I said, "Yes." So in America they call it Bigfoot. In Australia they call it Yowie. Blackfella culture we call it, from what I was told growing up by my aunties, it's called hairy man or tall man. And I said, yeah. And she goes, I was dreaming that on that property. I said, okay. See, 2.5 years back I dreamt it too. After I had my little girl and my children, we were all hiking on a property, hiking on this land, and two Yowie come chasing me with my kids, and my children's father ran ahead with one of them, and I grabbed the other two and sprinted, and the dream was like zoom real fast. And then when I went back to go and check, when they got in the car into a safe zone area where the car was off the park walkway, and the Bigfoot stopped coming after us, I went back in the dream, I went back to look at them. And when I looked at them, they were just normal humans, normal people, dressed in Yowie clothing, like a Yowie suit, and they was taking it off. And I thought, he was playing mind games. It was a man and a woman playing mind games. And so my oldest daughter said, I'm dreaming about a Bigfoot on her property, chasing and watching us. And I went, yep, okay. See, while we was on this woman's property where our children were taken from us when housing kicked us out for unfair reasons, saw that there. I saw some strange things on that property, on that woman's property. And I got photos even to back these up. And anyway, going into the dream interpretations now. A couple of years ago, in 2023, I went to a Seers and Dreamers conference. And the Seers and Dreamers conference went for 3 days. I went all by myself, and I went to get an infilling of God and the Word and gifts to understand my dreams. Because a dream I had a couple of months before the conference, the prophet speaker from America had sent emails to everybody to share their most recent dream and send it through to her so it could be possibly shared at the conference. I had a very interesting one, and mine was, and it was read out in the conference on the second night, and we had sessions and breaks, and as we was going into the last session of the night, my dream was read out first, set out first, shared, and I stood up, and so this is the dream I had. The dream was me and my children's father, who's still my husband, I'm still married to, was on a ship full of rich people in Egypt, and it had flooded, and we had stopped, the sailing ship had stopped near the Sphinx, and you can see the water was coming down from the Sphinx neck where the dark levels had resided, water resided, but still a lot of Egypt was still flooded. And the ship stopped, I got out, and we were walking around on land, and I walked towards a specific spot. And at this spot, I started digging near the Sphinx in front of it, on its right side. And I started digging, and I started finding my kids' stuff, like their toys, their knickknacks. And then I turned around and saw a demon behind me. Now, the demon I saw behind me, I saw in a dream previous to that, like 3.5, 4 years before. And then I went back to the ship, and all the rich people, they were rich couples and elders. My children's father was no longer on it. And now we were married after when this dream come. And then the dream transferred, like it switched, and I was on a different ship with all these other couples. And they looked amazed that Egypt was underwater. And I'm a person who interprets dreams. And so what that dream means is, see, after I got married in 2021, I kept asking a question that went for about a year or so, a couple of years. And even after the dream, I would still question it. How do believers obey Babylon? How do Christians in this modern time obey Babylon? And so I'm realizing with my children now, when I was out in Cloncurry, where my children's father from, I got a revelation, and my spirit woman, it just dropped in me a night or two before I left there. And I got in my spirit, daughter, you are on exile on your country. Just like the Bible says. You go from your, people who were Israelite were either, and this would have happened in times where even God says it in the Word, the Bible, where He says, you are carried away by other kings to their kingdom, like the Israelites to Egypt, or you are ruled by that Babylonian king of a different king on your land. Like they own your land. And now, isn't that what's happening today? So I got that interpretation of Babylon, believers obeying a Babylon system. I'm going to share a second part to this video, so you get a more infilling of dream interpretation. Thank you.